About 6 years ago, I was with my friend Tom at my parents' cabin. We decided to head off to a casino located on an Ojibwe reserve about 40 minutes away. The entire stretch of highway between is heavily forested and has no lights, meaning it can get incredibly dark. We got there and played some poker, tried a few table games, and grabbed some dinner with our winnings. Pretty successful night overall for both of us. We ended up leaving the casino around 1 a.m., a little later than I would have liked given the lack of any streetlights. We drove for about 20 minutes on the highway without passing any other vehicles when I noticed 2 green orbs just off the highway before a hill. Realizing it was a deer, I slammed on the brakes and waited. Several deer crossed, and we resumed driving. The car was going slowly up the hill because it was a starting stop. As soon as we made the crest of the hill, Tom screamed, "Holy shit!" Right in front of us was a young woman walking in the middle of our lane towards us, no more than maybe 30 feet away. I slammed on the brakes again and came within 10 feet of her. Thankfully, slowing down earlier and climbing the hill meant we weren't going fast. But what was going through my mind wasn't the fact that I nearly ran over someone. It was that this young woman with pitch black hair was wearing a white nightgown with no shoes and was still walking towards us with a blank, expressionless face. Not going to lie, that image frightened me because it looked like something straight out of a horror movie. Tom and I waited to see if she was going to pull up to our window and maybe ask for help or something. She made it to the front of my car and went around the driver's side. She didn't stop, but she raised her hand and dragged it across the side of my car while continuing her walk. At this point, Tom and I were both freaked out. I asked Tom what we should do. He said that we should just get out of here. For whatever reason, I just didn't feel right about leaving and not asking if she was all right. I looked in the rearview mirror and saw that she was still walking. Having almost hit her and knowing that something just wasn't right, I decided to do something. I told Tom that I was going to ask if she was all right. Tom pleaded that we just go and get out of there. I put on some bravado and told him not to worry and that I would be right back. I put on my blinkers and stepped out of my car. I left my door open to provide some light, and I walked around to the trunk of my car. My interior lights didn't do much, but blinkers allowed me to see an outline of her slightly down the hill. Only able to see her every other second, I half yelled, "Are you all right?" She finally stopped walking but still faced the other way. There was no response. I heard Tom's door open as he was getting out to join me. Suddenly, she started screaming. Tom and I ran back into my car, and I just floored it. I got a lot of shit from Tom for the remainder of the ride back to my cabin. I haven't heard or seen anything like that on the highway since then, and I'm pretty thankful for it. That was the creepiest moment of my life. The following story occurred 9 years ago in the summer of 2005. I live in Georgia and went to the University of Georgia. My girlfriend, now wife, lived in Atlanta, about a 65-mile drive from Athens, Georgia. The highway which takes you to Athens from Atlanta is a 2-lane highway called 316. This information is important for the story. It was a Sunday evening, and I had spent the weekend in Atlanta and was now driving back to Athens. In the summer, there were very few cars on the road on Sunday evening, as many students go home for the summer. I was driving a black BMW SUV and was just cruising along, listening to some tunes. I literally had seen no cars for miles as I approached one of the traffic lights along 316. The light was red, and I came to a stop alongside an older Mustang. It looked like an 80s 5-liter model and was black with a rag top. The windows of the Mustang were tinted. I really did not give the car another thought. I just sat there and waited for the light to turn green. The light turned green, and the Mustang suddenly sped off with a squeal of the tires, as if the driver floored the engine from an idle position. The car sped off far in front of me, I was a bit surprised, but just thought, another redneck, who cares? The car sped out of sight and out of mind. I continued to drive along and was back in chill mode again when suddenly a car with high beams on appeared directly behind me. I thought, what the fuck? I quickly realized it was the same Mustang from earlier. The car had been waiting on the side of the highway for me. I looked down to make sure my phone was charging in case I needed it. It was. Next, the Mustang switches lanes and flies up beside me, keeps pace for a few seconds, and then takes off in front of me. The car switches lanes to be in my lane and brakes suddenly, bringing the car to a halt. I swerve into the other lane and speed up. The Mustang speeds up beside me and starts to swerve at me, trying to knock me off the road. It then speeds up again and tries the braking maneuver once again. At this point, I am freaking out. I am a 6'3", 220 pounds male who works out religiously. I don't easily get scared. In this situation, size did not matter. I note the license plate on the car and grab my cell phone. But as I do, the car is suddenly beside me again and starts swerving at me. As I jerk my wheel to the side, my phone flies out of my hands into the passenger side doorwell. The Mustang is then behind me, flashing its brights right on my bumper, speeding up, slowing down, blaring its horn, and swerving side to side. Then suddenly, it speeds out of sight and is gone. I collect myself, take a deep breath, and drive the remainder of the 10 minutes to the turnoff that is the road to the town where my house is located. I make a quick decision to drive to the police station located in my town on my way home to file a report. I had the license plate number memorized and had been mentally reciting it over and over again. As I turn off the road to the town where I live, bright lights fill my rearview mirror again, and the Mustang is behind me again. It speeds past me and turns down another road and is gone. I arrive at the police station and give them the license plate number. This is a fairly small police station, and I believe there was only one officer working. He tells me it is probably somebody mistaking me for someone else. He runs the plate number and tells me the owner of the license plate number is deceased. He states it is probably a stolen license plate. Now, completely freaked out, I finish filing the police report and head home. I am at home on the phone with my girlfriend when suddenly someone beats loudly on my garage door several times, followed by a squeal of tires. I never see a car, but I call the cops immediately. The cops come, and nothing is ever found. I didn't sleep for several nights, but that was the end of it.